Donald Trump just went to the White House to meet with Joe Biden, and something doesn't quite look right. This is what that meeting looked like.
Well, Mr. President-elect and former President,
Thank you.
Donald, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And looking forward to having like we said, a smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So
Good.
welcome.
Thank you
Welcome back.
very much. And thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. And a transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Joe.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
You seem a little happy there, Joe. Does this look like a man who is sitting next to Hitler? That's the real question that I'm asking. And this is further proof, by the way, of the fact that Democrats are complete phonies because Biden just spent the last 4 years, and maybe before that when Donald Trump was president, but no one really cared about what Biden was saying. So all I can say is I know for the fact that the last 4 years, Biden has talked about how Trump was the end to the republic, or of course they would call the democracy. But in any case, that was the narrative this whole time. I thought this was all supposed to be over. I thought President-elect Trump was the worst thing that could happen. It was the moment where the chancellorship goes to Adolf Hitler. That was supposed to be our moment. And now he's welcoming him back to the White House with open arms and laughter. So I am convinced at this point that Joe Biden voted for Donald Trump. And Jill Biden, by the way, I'll rope her in with that. And probably, by the way, tons of Joe Biden's staff. Because as I've talked about in the show before, they don't like Kamala Harris. And this is not a joke, by the way. A lot of people are like joking about this. They're like, oh yeah, Biden voted for Trump. No, I'm dead serious. Like, I actually really think this happened. And I talked about it earlier on my show this week. But if you think that Biden wanted Kamala Harris to be in power, I think you're crazy. I really do. And here's the reason why. You have to put it into perspective here. He was forced to put this lady in as his VP because of Obama. He never really wanted it. And the reason why I say that is because she called him a racist on stage in front of the whole country. So I do not think that Biden wanted her to be his VP ever. But Obama made it happen. And then Obama continued to talk down to Biden throughout his whole presidency. I mean, this is the tragic story of Joe Biden. I don't like Joe Biden. You probably don't like Joe Biden either. That's why you're watching this. If you do like Joe Biden, I appreciate you watching the show. But the problem, this is the sad tragedy, is that he was loyal to his party for literally half a century. And not only was he loyal, but he was in power in his party, and they cooed him. They talked down to him, and they cooed him. And I'm sorry, I feel a little bad. I do, because loyalty, even if it's loyalty to the wrong thing, it's still admirable to a point. And so I feel bad for Joe Biden. And so, of course, he gets condescended down to by Obama. Kamala Harris gets put in as his VP. He doesn't even get a choice. And then she ousts him like 2 months before the election and takes all the credit. And then she loses. And the only way his legacy, by the way, could be preserved from a Democrat standpoint, of course, is for her to lose. And so he wanted her to lose, and she did, and he's happy because now he's vindicated, because he can now say, and by the way, I should say this, if it had been him and Trump, he would have lost. He totally would have lost. I actually think it would have been closer. I kind of want to make a whole video on that. That's kind of a conversation for another day, but I think that it would have been closer between Biden and Trump, even though I still think he totally would have lost. But he's vindicated because he can now go out there and say that he would have won, even though we don't know for sure. And so that's one reason why Biden is very, very happy about Donald Trump visiting the White House. But there is one more reason, and this actually comes to something that I experienced firsthand. It's the reason we talked about Joe Biden, but it's the reason why Democrats in general aren't that sad right now. If you go onto X, you're going to see like the crazy people talking about how sad they are that all these, like Tulsi Gabbard is now the director of national intelligence. They're very sad about that. For the average Democrat, they're really not sad. You're not seeing these crazy protests. And if you get, and again, I want to bring this down to a personal experience I had. If you didn't know, I was in Washington, D.C. during the whole election. I got there like 3 days early, stayed there 3 days after. And one of the reasons why I went there was because I wanted to see how the city reacted to a Trump victory, because I was convinced that Donald Trump would win. My prediction was right. And here's the deal. The day before the election, you've got businesses all around DC. I saw them personally boarding up their businesses. So clearly they believe the same thing. They're thinking to themselves, Donald Trump is a good shot at winning, and I need to protect my business from the woke mob that's about to ensue. And here's the deal. Nothing happened. I was waiting for it. I was out on the streets, guys. I'm telling you. I went to the White House when Trump had announced essentially, or when Fox rather had called that Trump had won. Nothing. There was some like small time stuff. There were no protests, no angry people. And so this is what I think happened. I think I know the reason why these people are not sad. And I think I know the reason why Joe Biden is happy. And the reason why is because they know deep down Donald Trump was a good president. And they look at the economy and they look at the foreign policy from 2017 to 2020 and they think, that was pretty good. It was good. Like they can remember it. I think it internalized it deeper into them when Donald Trump was the president-elect. They didn't vote for him. I'm not saying that. And they didn't vote for him because of personality problems with some of the rhetoric, the mean tweets, as people say. And they also probably maybe disagree with him on like abortion, maybe LGBTQ rights, things like that. I'm not saying that they're going to vote for him. But at the end of the day, they were sad Kamala lost for a second. And then they remembered their life under Donald Trump. And they remembered it was pretty sweet. And that goes for Biden all the way down to your average Democrat. Before you guys go, I do want to talk about my new book, A New Cult. It's up on the bookshelf over there in the link in the description below. You can go check it out at Amazon.com. It's only $10, or if you have a Kindle subscription, it's free to you. I really enjoyed reading it. You can support me there and read all about how the progressive, woke, leftist cult is taking over the West and what we can do to stop it.